Yes, ma'am. I think it's a great idea. I actually, after the meeting, spent a little time going through the database. Now, we've mentioned Jarvis some issues. He mainly mentioned the front end. I'm less concerned about that. I'm more concerned about the data. Gwinnett County had fairly decent voter rolls. I'm afraid some of the work with Jarvis has made some mistakes. I found just a few, if I could go through just a couple here. The one that concerns me the most is duplicate voters. These are voters who have the same first and last name, usually the same middle name or middle initial, the same birth year, same address, or at least the same street name and the same gender. I went through the Gwinnett County. What I did was I compared the Secretary of State's files from 2020 with the ones I got about 3 weeks ago from the Secretary of State. And in 2020, there were about 43 voters who had a duplicate record, which is bad. I guess it's worse that about 10 of those people looks like they voted twice in at least one previous election. Some of them voted twice in multiple elections. But I went through the data from after the Jarvis report from 3 weeks ago, and I found that there were 408 voters that had been duplicated. Many have the same registration date, and if you multiply the records out, it's 844 affected records. About 550 had registration dates after January 2023, so these are pretty new. They each had different registration numbers. 385 of these voters have a single duplicate. 17 have 2 duplicates for a total of 3 voters with the same name, birthday, gender, address. And 6 actually have 3 duplicates, so there's some people that have 4 opportunities to vote there. There were 3 people outside Gwinnett, 1 downtown Atlanta, 1 in Savannah. Missing data fields, we've got 42 voters who have their reference street name missing address. Some of them have a street number, some do not. 174 have a blank field for resident street, city, name, and zip code. So that's going to be hard to check. 15 voters have a resident street name canceled voter street, even though they all show as active voters. 52 voters have the last name NA, 19 voters have the first name NA, and 1,753 records from the 2023 file have a different registration date than they did in the 2020 file. So I'm not sure how the registration date gets changed. I'm investigating that. And then almost 12,000 voters have a registration date before the creation date. The average number of days between the registration date and creation date is 115 days. And the last thing I found, 339 voters had their gender changed from 2020 to 2023. Now I know that's kind of a popular thing nowadays, but that seems like a lot to have a gender change. So we definitely want to get on the 2028 and start working on this. My intention was to send this file, but I literally closed this up as I left to come here. So I will send the file to the staff and have them start looking at it.
Understand. David, do you think any of this is in regards to some of the Jarvis issues? So you're getting the whole thing about the columns not lining up right. I can't believe that 12,000 people were inaccurately listed before their registration. I mean, before their
There's got to be.
So I think there's got to be data shifts ongoing in the database.
Right.
Yeah.
And that speaks to exactly what. And
Yes,
that's the point. That speaks to exactly why we're looking at a policy so that we can be preventive on our end rather than just be reactive.
Gwinnett County is responsible for our voter rolls. And so we can, lead the state by getting ours as clean as we possibly can. And I'm happy to help. I'll do this every month if we want to. I'll send it to staff. But I just wanted, it's pretty bad right now, and I'm hoping next month it'll be a little better and a little better. You mentioned continuous improvement in your opening remarks. That's
Absolutely.
what we're going to do.
Thank you. Thank you for that information. Sure.